Are we going? Are we started?
They're like, we started 10 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. We are here. We are back. I don't know where we came from, Tom, but we are here with Laura and Connie from Three Ships. We're excited. There we go. Here we go. There it is. Big applause sign. If you don't know Three Ships, they are a beauty brand on a mission, a rising, a shooting star. A shooting star of e-commerce. A comet, maybe.
E-comet.
E-comets.
You guys are on fire tonight.
Wow. I don't know if anybody wants to buy that domain right now, but I would highly suggest it. They are a Canadian-founded brand that is available all across North America, which is super cool, super great Canadian success story. They're in little stores like Whole Foods. I don't know if you've ever heard of Whole Foods. I don't know, just a little store. Forbes 30 under 30. There you go. That's it. I have a whole list of awards. Just let me get through. Okay, Forbes 30 under 30, EY Entrepreneurs of the Year, RBC Canadian Women Entrepreneurs of the Year. They've pitched on Dragon's Den, of which they got 3 offers, which is better than any offers than we've gotten. So 3 out of 4 is pretty good. Season 15, episode 2, if you want to watch it.
Watch
Dragon's
it on
Den.
CBC.
There you go, CBC.
Plug.
CBC.com. .ca. Okay, they are a fellow certified B Corp, which is no small feat. Congratulations. And just for funsies, they recently raised $3.5 million. So, holy crap, that's pretty good. Oh, and we're a little bit biased, but they're also co-founders, which makes the best kind of founders. So, welcome, Laura and Connie.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Wow, support.
It's a big intro.
Yeah. That's it.
It's amazing. And that's how I want to be introduced all the time, though.
It is.
Yeah.
And this was the scaled down version.
Yeah.
This is.
I want to see
there's
the
more.
first draft.
Well,
Yeah, it's a lot more.
we had a musical number, but then for a time,
We'll save that for the end.
we couldn't do it. But anyway, we would love to know more about your story. We love stories.
I mean,
Tell
we
us
have a
about
long story, but we can shorten it for this.
Do it.
So Three Ships started back in 2017, originally under a different brand name, which we rebranded to Three Ships in 2020. But at the time, I was a recent business grad. I went to Queen's University, and Laura went to U of T for chemical engineering. And what we had in common is that we were both broke college grads who couldn't justify spending hundreds of dollars on high quality natural skincare. Like, I don't know if you guys use natural skincare, but it's freaking pricey. Yeah, I mean, it rates good. Yeah. Do you use Three Ships?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you will now.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, when we go to our local drugstore and try to find something that was within our price range that was marketed as natural, we realized like everything's just greenwash and nothing was actually plant-based. We realized that there was this huge opportunity to make a line of truly natural, science-backed, and affordable skincare. So we pulled together our savings, which at the time was a combined $4,000. We got started by hand making products in my kitchen while working our other 9 to 5s to save up money. It was like very homegrown in Home Depot buckets, stainless steel mixing bowls, selling at farmers markets on the weekend. And then went full-time in the end of 2018, rebranded to Three Ships in 2020, and that's really when the business took off. So today, like you mentioned, found in some little retailers like Whole Foods. We're carried in actually close to 1,000 retail locations, have a full product line of over 20 SKUs. And yeah, it's been a wild ride.
That's good ROI on $4,000.
I know.
Really good ROI, yeah.
should
We know how to make a dollar go far.
I'm no chemical engineer, but that's.
No, Kyle, you're not.
No, that's not. Yes. Speaking of chemical engineers, not related, but the beauty, well, it's kind of related. Okay, so the beauty industry, incredibly saturated, right? There's a lot of players in it. There's a lot of people making noise. So how do you stand out with all these giants in the space?
So what I always tell people when they're scared about going into a really competitive market is don't focus on what you don't have, focus on what you do have.
Nice.
And something that we had that the big guys don't and never will is authenticity. The reason that Connie and I started this brand is very authentic.
Yeah.
We're our own consumers. That is so valuable. And that's something that they will never have within these mega corporations. So especially early on, we really leaned heavily into our founder story, into having us in content. Our audience really feels like they know Connie and I. We'll get on live shopping events and announce product launches, and we'll sell like 30 grand of product within 45 minutes.
And they'll know our dog's name.
They'll know our pets' names. Like,
Crazy. Ollie and Ella.
and Ella, yeah. You know our pets' names now.
From the live shopping event that we were at last night. Yeah.
I think having those one-to-one connections, that's something that you do have that is such a valuable and understated asset and competitive advantage that these big guys can't ever have. So don't understate that and really lean into those elements. Don't try to hide or pretend like you're something that you aren't, or like shirk back from your smaller roots. Like, be really, really authentic and really honest with your community. And I think that that's really, really powerful. And then it also encourages us to like cut the fluff. I think there's a lot of wasted money within these mega corporations. The amount that they spend on like one advertising campaign is wild, absolutely insane. And so those big budgets, yes, they get a lot of eyeballs and impressions, but it doesn't necessarily create the same level of connection that you can do with smaller budget, more organic type content. And we all have so much power behind our phones. Like, people are like, oh, I just can't reach anyone, and like, I'm struggling to get anyone to care about my business. I'm like, well, you have like this really powerful tool right here that you can reach millions of people with. And that's something that we are so lucky to have that I think people don't leverage well enough. And then I think Connie and I have learned so much through different mentors as well. That's something that we've done a really intentional job of, is accumulating mentors, investors over time, and growing those relationships. It takes a long time. It takes years to establish, but they will serve you so well.
So that's so well said. Actually, and I remember I was actually thinking about, I think I ran across, speaking of like connecting with your customer, it was like you had called one of your first customers or one of your biggest customers, something like on a live Instagram or something. It was
I've
so
done that
cool.
before, yeah.
And like talked to them, and it was like a cool like experience.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. When we called one of our like longest standing customers who had ordered like, I don't know, 30 plus times or something. And the funny thing is we actually went through a list of customers before we got to that one that we filmed, but no one was picking up because it was like a random number. So
I was impressed. I was like, who picks their phone up nowadays?
I know. I think that was like the 8th person we called.
Yeah.
And then, well, the most recent time I did it, which might have been the one that you saw, that was the first person that I called, and she picked up, and she was very touched. So like doing things like that really make a difference. And up until like literally a week ago, as part of our abandoned cart flows, they would get a personal email from me, and like replies would actually go to my inbox.
Oh, nice.
And it was a really helpful way for me to stay in touch with like, what are the struggles that people are facing when they're trying to check out of our website. And like once a month I would discover something that was actually wrong at our site, or something that wasn't working properly, and I was able to troubleshoot it that way. So like those little scrappy ways.
And Laura and I both still get every customer review forwarded to our inboxes as well, because we want to know what's going on. And once in a while, if there's one that really stands out, I'll even reply to the email, and hopefully like they get it. Just to be like, thanks so much for leaving this. But I honestly think that there's such a disconnect between a lot of founders and their customers now, because they're so focused on scaling. Who was it who said like, to scale, you need to do things that aren't scalable? Maybe Reid Hoffman. But yeah, I think it's really important.
Fantastic, so good.
That kind of comes into this thought, you're scaling in retail, you're getting bigger in retail. You're talking a lot about direct-to-consumer, that connection online. How does that play into your strategy or your insights or your connection to your customer base and your community currently and ongoing?
How does retail play into
your D2C?
Into our D2C? I mean, I think it's critical. We have a 40% repeat purchase rate, so I think that connection that we have with our customers is huge for that. And still, our number one acquisition channel is word of mouth. Like, your customers are always your biggest advocate if you have a great product. And so I'd say, especially in those early days when you're trying to grow D2C, focus on what you do have, which again is like your existing client base. All it takes is that one person to connect you with 2 more, and those 2 people to connect you with 2 more each. And the math like can spiral really, really fast. So word of mouth is still our largest channel by far. And then email is probably our second. Email and SMS, which is kind of word of mouth in a way, drive 40% of our online revenue. And again, we don't pay anything. Those are already emails that we've acquired. Yeah, we think it's like a real flywheel effect between wholesale and e-com. And I remember when we first started the company, a lot of people were saying like, only focus on D2C or only focus on wholesale. And we were like, no, our hypothesis, which we then
proved is that within skincare, people like to smell, touch, and feel a product first before necessarily committing, especially if you're a new brand, right? There's so many brands out there. And so we aligned ourselves with really reputable retailers. So hopefully if a customer went into a store, saw us there, maybe they checked out there, or they weren't convinced yet, but then they saw an ad from us after and then decided to buy there. Like it all feeds into each other. And like we really think of the business as one business. Like our marketing function supports both wholesale and e-com. And I think that's critical. Like, and in the beginning days, it wasn't always the case. Like that's a lesson we learned. Before, marketing used to be more synonymous with e-com for us, and it's really changed.
Yeah. And the only way I think that we really knew that of going into retail from the beginning was, one, it helped cash flow because they would pay right away for larger orders. But then secondly, because we went to all those in-market events that Connie mentioned, we could watch customers interact with the product, and we noticed that every time that she would put it on her hand, she'd like touch it like this and then smell it. It was like an automatic thing that people would do without even thinking about it. And so we're like, okay, this in-person experience is really important. And so very early on, Connie started pitching larger retail accounts and growing that part of the business.
So good.
Little Whole Foods.
Little Whole Foods,
Little.
Little wee Whole Foods.
But I think to the whole picture, that is, sorry. I think that's important, right? Is you can't really put people in a silo. You can't put your channels in a silo, and where you give focus to one, you lose focus on another. And so has this been, it sounds like it's been like a back and forth, trial and error kind of journey. But as it stands now, this is something you're focusing on holistically, trying to understand what does the customer need? What is it that they enjoy? When do they need a specific interaction or emotional connection or something to the product? From there though, like, do you find like one channel or one, I don't know, sales location as it were, is more prominent in terms of like a first purchase versus a repeat or vice versa? Or I guess I'm interested to know more about how, not only how people find out about you, how they engage with you, but what does that ongoing relationship look like right now with 3Ships?
So I'd say that most people still find out about us through online. Online is 70% of our business, brick and mortar is 30%. So, and online is also where it's easier for us to pull the growth levers. We can scale up ad spend, we can scale up online content, and we have control over that versus retailers rolling you out into new doors or expanding your assortment. You're on their timelines. You're on their timelines for when they reset their assortments and when they expand and redo their planograms.
And sometimes they don't even follow those timelines.
So it's not as much under your control. And also, if you start to grow your presence online, that then trickles into retail, because these buyers, like, you have to remember, they're still people. Like, they're getting hit up with your ads sometimes too, and they're also hearing about your product, hopefully from their friends. So I think it all does feed in with each other, but the one that we focus on more heavily from a dollar point of view is definitely D2C, because that does drive the traffic in store. And it's the way that people discover our product for the first time.
Higher margin.
Like higher margin. Definitely, which is super helpful as well.
It's good.
One more question.
Yes.
Well, not one more. That's a lie. It's an absolute lie. I'm sorry, Mom. Higher margin, sure. What does it look like in terms of your visibility into who that person is? Do you find that there's more of that with the D2C channel than retail?
Oh, of course. Retail, we're blind.
Yeah, I can't get that information. Like, I can't get that level of granularity. I don't even know half the people who are buying our products in store unless they then shop on our own site after and say that they converted from the Detox Market or Indigo and leave their email.
Right.
And even like the retailers that we're talking to, like, sometimes they don't know who's actually buying because they don't have customer profiles built out, or people don't want to leave their email or phone number. They have a high level understanding because, like, the people they see, but it's not like what we get on e-com.
Okay, there's so much more to unpack there, but thinking about the future, what's on the horizon? What's next for 3Ships?
So many things.
So many things.
So we're launching a product in 2 weeks, which we're really excited about. Cool. It's a ceramide cream. And then we have another product launching later on this year too. We're hiring for a bunch of new team members. So one position that we actually have open right now, which actually is very relevant to what you guys do, is a retention marketing associate. So like running our email, SMS, bringing that in-house.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if anyone listening or here knows somebody, we would love.
We'll connect you with some. There's several people here, I'm sure. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
so that's something that's on the radar for us.
Cool.
And just in general, growing our team out this year. I think we have like 3 new people starting in the next like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Our team is around
amazing.
13, 14 people right now.
Nice. That's a cool stage.
Yeah, we love it.
That's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
We want to keep under 20. I don't know if that's going to happen, but
Well, it depends, right? Depends how it all grows.
yeah, we're just like hyper focused on profitability.
That's good. Yeah. That's a really good note. A great segue, maybe. Yeah. to our final question. What is the one lesson?
Profitability.
With profitability, yeah. What's the one lesson? If you could, not that you have to summarize all of it, but if we had to wind it down into something to send other founders, other leaders away with, what's one thing you'd want to leave them with?
Well, on the profitability note, that's actually something. So trusting your gut. I think especially for early stage founders and like young founders, when you don't have the experience, you sometimes discredit your gut intuition. And what we've learned over the past few years is that your gut intuition is there for a reason. So on the topic of profitability, I remember back when we were fundraising in 2022 in Q1, Laura and I were really focused on being a profitable brand. But when we were talking to investors back then, everyone was like, wait, so you're not focused on aggressive top line growth? Like, we don't want to talk to you. And we just stuck with it. And then we became profitable. And then when we closed our accelerator round last month, it was so much easier to close because we were profitable. And now all the investors are like, oh yeah, we want you to be profitable from day one. But if we had listened to them back then, we wouldn't be where we are today. So trusting your gut is so important, or even what we were talking about earlier, like being a true omni-channel brand from day one, even though other people were saying to just be a pure D2C. So again, like, yeah, maybe you don't have all the years of experience, but if you align yourselves with mentors, like Laura said, and just like really listen deep within you, you have a lot of the answers.
Love that. That's
My
good.
piece of advice would be learn how to sell. If you're already a founder, learn how to sell or find a co-founder that knows how to sell. It is so
Nice.
important. And if you haven't started your business yet or you're not quite full-time, leave your current job and get a sales job, honestly. Like, I am such a huge proponent of starting your careers off in sales. Connie and I both came from sales backgrounds. Like, those were our first jobs out of school. And I think that gave us such a unique competitive edge over other founders, because if you think about it this way, you're always selling something. You're selling your company and you're to investors, or you're selling your product to buyers and customers, or you're selling your vision to an employee that is considering joining you. So knowing how to sell is massively critical. And especially within young women founders, like very few women that I meet come from a sales background or feel comfortable in that setting. And when you're doing like the most brutal, grindy version of sales, like door knocking and cold calling, that's where you should get a job in. Like, just get your face beat in every day and like deal with the rejection. No, honestly.
And then use 3 shifts.
And then use 3 chips to feel good.
To fix up your face.
But like, that is really what allows you to grow thick skin and be resilient, because you're going to get rejected way more than you're going to hear yeses within business. And that it makes it a lot easier, because you'll be like, this is normal. Like, it doesn't
It's
feel
just a
so
no
personal.
now. It doesn't mean no
It doesn't feel
forever.
personal.
Yeah.
That's so good. I mean,
Learn to sell.
I think it was 28 messages that we sent to you to get here. So that
You weren't supposed to tell them that.
No, you guys are awesome. I think it's like the first time we asked you said, we'll do it, we'll jump in. And I think we could talk to you probably for another 2 hours. And I feel like this feels bad to wind this down, but thank you so much. Next time.
Thanks so much
Well,
for
we're just
having us.
opening act.
This is, there you go, so perfect. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Laura and Connie, the 3 Ships team. That's it. Yes, amazing. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Okay.